I hate to burst y'all's bubble, but this isn't the book that's better than The Captive Temple. In fact, let's get into Jedi Apprentice, Book 9, The Fight for Truth. In this one, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan team up with Adi Galadia. I don't remember how it's spelled, and I always pronounce it like 5 different ways. She's the Jedi Master with the lobes. Now I sound like Matt Wilkins when you review Jedi Apprentice, but it's true. She's humanoid, but she got the weird lobe things. I don't know. She is taking on a new apprentice, Siri, who showed up briefly in The Captive Temple. Siri's a big character throughout Jude Watson's books. And in this is her most insufferable. At least for the first half of this. Siri is incredibly insufferable. But let's get into it. So these two teams of Jedi are sent to a planet that's kind of removed itself from the galaxy, essentially. They have nothing to do with the Republic. But a family has called in the Jedi because they have a Force-sensitive child. So the Jedi are sent there to be greeted by the people's speakers, basically. And on this planet, it's like the most anti-socialist planet on the face of the galaxy, I guess. It is just how the last book was, like, I guess, anti-capitalist. This is anti-socialist. No one has, like, a mind of their own. There are 2 leaders that they foresee the future, and thus they control everything, and everyone does things for the greater good. But it's not really the greater good. It's however the leaders perceive the greater good to be. It's bad. Obi-Wan and Siri end up being kidnapped and forced into these schools where they're learning that Coruscant is the most dangerous place on the planet. That might be accurate. Have you ever been to the Undercity? I mean, Darth Maul fought a giant beetle under there, so, like, anything's possible there. But Siri can't keep her mouth shut, so they keep getting punished. Meanwhile, the big takeaway from this is not the story itself. It's very cookie cutter, like, post-apocalyptic, like, futuristic society, like The Giver. It feels like The Giver, but bad. And, like, it's very predictable, and I've read 8 of these Jedi Apprentice books already. I kind of know how it's going to end. And since this is a standalone, you're definitely going to know how this is going to turn out. But the big thing that is more interesting than this actual book is the vision of the people. And I'm going to spoil a little bit here, because this is more interesting to talk about, because it's kind of nonsense and is ignored by the rest of the EU. The leaders of this planet have separated their planet from the Republic because they fear that if they're part of the Republic, masked figures will come to their planet and their planet will be completely destroyed. And they're meaning the Death Star. Or are they? So on Wikipedia, they try to make it like it's for sure the Death Star was tested on this planet, but there is no reference to this planet ever having Death Star tests on it in any other EU media. Is it possible? I mean, I guess, but Michael Reeves and Steve Perry kind of tied into what the Death Star timeline was like when it became fully operational. I mean, could they have tested the Death Star 2 on it? No, because I don't think that ever left the Endor system. This isn't near the Endor system. So, what's going on? Well, I talked to Quality Autism about this. His idea was that it was a potential future if Luke didn't blow up the Death Star, that the Death Star would come to their planet and destroy it. Okay, that's a possibility. But I have another possibility, because like I said, this planet doesn't show up in any other EU material. That's not uncommon for YA planets made up for YA books. YA books, unless you're written by Kevin J. Anderson, they're pretty much ignored in the greater continuity. So, what do I say about this? Well, Palpatine had a lot of planet-destroying machines. Why not the Galaxy Gun be tested on this planet? Or the World Devastators? Or the Sun Crusher? Or the even the Eye of flippin' Palpatine could have been tested on this planet. Because, let's face it, these people, throughout the book, many of these people have visions of the future. So, because they aren't going out into the galaxy, probably the majority of these people have high midichlorian counts, and Palpatine could see that as a threat. So why not test a weapon on here? We don't know where all the Palpatine super weapons were tested. Pretty much we know the Death Star's history. We kind of know the Eye of Palpatine's history, but as for the Galaxy Gun, not a lot on that. That was a super laser that was attached to a giant Star Destroyer. Shot things from space. As I recall, I think it could shoot through hyperspace, but it's been a while since I read Dark Empire. So, yeah, I don't know. It could have been another super weapon. But anyway, what do I rank this book? I rank it a 3 out of 5. It's not a terrible book. It's frustrating because I don't know if this is fair to Jude Watson. I hold Jude Watson to a higher standard than I ever hold any other YA author. Why? Because Jude Watson writes, these are children's books, but she writes them in a way that they're compelling to adults. Because I've read these books already. I read them when I was 10. Decades ago now. Now I'm rereading them as an adult and I'm getting more out of it. And these books get dark. They don't hold a little kitty hand, So, I don't know. I hold Jude Watson to a higher standard for writing more engaging books. This is just one that's just kind of a dud. So, anyway. Have a nice day.